Hi there, I'm Cath. Welcome to my channel, Made by Cath Craft. Thank you so much for joining me today for another one of my vlogs. If you're new to my channel, I love to talk about all things sewing related. I'm slowly sewing my way towards a handmade wardrobe and I'm really loving the whole process, and I love talking about sewing patterns, fabrics, pattern hacks, and yeah, everything sewing related. So if you are new to my channel and you think that might be something you'd like to hear more about, I would love it if you would press the subscribe button and also the bell icon so that you hear more about my future vlogs. But today's vlog is all about what I've been sewing in August. And August has been quite a busy month for me here because it's been the school holidays and I have two small children who've been off school. And we went away on holiday in August. We actually had 2 weeks away, so we're really lucky. We had a week in Cornwall near Bude, which was really lovely. It was the first time we'd been to Cornwall as a family because previously we haven't wanted to drive that far with small children. But actually, although the drive was really trafficky, it was worth it to get there and we had a lovely week. And we also had a week in Wales, again our first time to Wales as a family, and that was lots of fun too. Both holidays we had a bit of a mixed bag of weather, some sort of overcast days with a bit of rain, but we had enough sun to be able to make it to the beach and make some sandcastles and have a splash in the sea, so that was really lovely. But being away for a couple of weeks means I had a bit less time to sew, but I did manage to get some sewing done, particularly in advance of our holidays, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you what I have made. But first I thought I'd share what I'm wearing today. And today I'm wearing this dress. It is the Lotta dress by Tilly and the Buttons, and it's one I don't often reach for, but when I do reach for it I always really enjoy wearing it and think I should reach for it more often, and I always think as well I should really make another one of it because I actually do really like it. But I'll show you the pattern. So yeah, the Lotta dress by Tilly and the Buttons, it's one of their patterns for beginners because it's quite straightforward. It doesn't have any zips or fastenings or buttonholes or anything like that. And it's quite a clever pattern because you can either make it in a jersey or a woven fabric. I think the main difference is how you finish the neckband. If you make it in jersey, there's a neckband to be added, but if you do woven, it's a facing. And this is a woven viscose fabric, so I've got the facing on this one. But yeah, it's a really nice pattern and yeah, quite a simple, fairly straightforward sew. So these are line drawings. So yeah, it's got a sort of main, sort of slightly blousy top bodice with grown on sleeves, or you can add a longer sleeve. Then it's got an elasticated waist and then a fairly swishy full skirt, and you can add patch pockets if you want. So yeah, it's quite a straightforward silhouette, so you can have fun I think with like quite a bold fabric choice and really show off a nice print. But yeah, so I made mine in this lovely viscose fabric which I got from Minerva, which is kind of like a monochrome ditzy floral fabric. And I initially made it long sleeved, but I wasn't really wearing it, and then I chopped it off to short sleeved and I found I like it a lot more like that. And I'll put up a picture of me wearing it so you can see. I didn't add the pockets because I always find with lightweight fabrics like viscose, if you have a patch pocket and you put like something in like a phone, it just kind of drags the fabric down too much anyway. So yeah, I didn't bother with pockets in this one, and I kind of chopped it to above the knee, so a little bit shorter than the pattern piece I think. And I think I made my standard Tilly size 2, which is for bust 32, waist 26, hips 35, and my hips are 37, but because the skirt's quite full, I think there's plenty of room there, so I didn't need to kind of grade out for the hips. And the pattern goes from a UK 6 to a UK 24, so it goes from bust 30, waist 24, hips 33, up to the 24 is bust 48, waist 42, hips 51. So it's not the biggest size range ever. I think Tilly and the Buttons now are doing a new size range that goes from 16 to 34, I think it is. But they haven't included the Lotta in that, at least yet. I don't know whether they're going to go back and re-release larger sizes for some of the older patterns, but yeah, it's a really nice pattern. It's quite nice and relaxed and comfy to wear because of the elasticated waistband, and it's quite a simple, quick sew. So yeah, I'm quite enjoying wearing that one today. But let me now move on to what I have been sewing in August. So the first make I've got to share with you that I made in August is a pattern hack, and it's a hack of this pattern here, which is the Ogden Cami by True Bias, and it's a really nice straightforward camisole top pattern designed for woven fabrics, and it's got a really nice deep v-neck and spaghetti straps, and it's just quite a straightforward silhouette, so it lends itself really well to pattern hacking. And if you saw my July makes video, you'll see that I made a really summery tiered dress using the Ogden cami. I kind of hacked it to add tiers, and it was quite floaty in a tencel, and I added little waist ties as well to kind of cinch it in. And I really enjoyed the whole process of that hack, and it kind of got me inspired to make another hack, but quite a different one. And I really fancy making a more pinafore style version using the Ogden cami that would kind of work well as a layering piece, because I've seen in the high street this year lots of really lovely kind of pinafores layered over kind of white t-shirts and that sort of thing, and I thought they looked really nice. But I thought also, as we get into winter, it would be nice to have a pinafore I could layer over thicker, cosier kind of polo neck tops too. So I thought I'd have a look around for some fabric and then have a go of adjusting the pattern to make a pinafore. And I found this really beautiful fabric, and it's here, and this is my hack. This is a Rifle Paper Co. Cotton fabric, so it's a bit thicker than the pattern recommends. The pattern is designed for lightweight fabrics, but that is when it's designed to be a camisole top. But I wanted to make this as a pinafore, so I wanted something a little bit more substantial. So it's a Rifle Paper Co. fabric. I always think their fabrics are so beautiful, with lots of different wildflowers on it. And it's kind of like the same weight as a quilting cotton, I think. It's not actually described as a quilting cotton, but I think it's a similar weight. And it's a little bit soft too. It's got kind of a softness to it. So it worked really well for making a slightly more substantial version of the Ogden cami. So yeah, here it is. As you can see, it's got the V neckline. I actually adjusted the V neckline. I kept the V at the front as per the pattern, but at the back I raised it slightly because I didn't want it to have like a sort of too deep low V back for a kind of pinafore. So I raised that up slightly, maybe by just over an inch. And then I widened the straps just a little bit so they're not such spaghetti straps. And then I cropped it off. You can see here, I cropped off the pattern a bit higher. I think I cropped it off about an inch or so above the lengthen and shorten line on the pattern. And then added on a gathered skirt, including pockets, to make it into a pinafore. Yeah, I'm really pleased with how it came out, and I really enjoyed having fun, having a play around with the pattern pieces. I think for this one, so I'm usually, when I've made the Ogden cami before, I've usually made the size 0. So the pattern goes from size 0 to size 18 for this style of a cami, which I've got in this pattern. But there is also a larger size range with a few differences to the pattern. I think the straps are slightly wider, and then there are darts for shaping. But yeah, the version I have goes from 0 to 18, and I usually make the size 0, which is chest 32, waist 26, hips 34, and that's my chest and waist measurements. But for the pinafore, because I knew I wanted to layer it, I actually sized up to a size 2, which is designed for chest 33, waist 27, just to give a little bit more room. And I'm quite pleased I did do that, because it feels now a little bit more roomy if I do put it on over a t-shirt or something. So I'll put up a picture of me wearing it so you can see how it looks, styled with a black t-shirt. I'm really happy with how it came out. I've worn it out already and I really enjoy wearing it, and I can't wait to wear it into winter too. And I just think the fabric is so pretty. Yeah, it's a lot of fun to wear. And the fabric came from Lamazi Fabrics. They have a really lovely range of Rifle Paper Company fabrics. And there are a couple of other details I wanted to share with you on this make. Firstly, I had fun putting a little label in to the back. I don't usually like labels right against my skin because I often find they bother me slightly, but I knew this was going to be a layering piece. And I often with the Ogden cami find it really hard to tell which way around it goes because the V's are fairly similar. So what I did, so I can know which way the back is I used a bit of the selvage from the fabric. And I thought it was really pretty. It has this little flower and then the Rifle Paper Co. Name on it. And I cut that off and then I sort of sewed it on with kind of orange thread to match the orange flowers. So now I know which way round it goes, so I'm pleased that I added that in. And I also, similar to my first Ogden cami hack, I fully lined the bodice. So I cut, instead of the original Ogden cami is designed to have a little facing that just kind of comes down to just below your bust. For the under piece, but for this version I just cut 2 pieces of the front and back bodice, and then I sewed them, and then once I'd kind of sewed the main outer bodice piece to the gathered skirt, I then turned under the inside piece and then I just slip stitched it, so you can see I just kind of slip stitched all round, so it's kind of enclosed the seams there. So that ended up quite neat, and I quite enjoyed actually a bit of hand sewing in front of the TV. I found that quite relaxing and quite satisfying to kind of take my time and do it neatly. And then in terms of the gathered skirt itself, for my first version in my July video, I didn't want it too gathered because I wanted to make a tiered maxi dress and I didn't want it getting too big at the bottom. But for this one I wanted a little bit more body, so I cut a sort of rectangle shape as long as I wanted it to be, and then I made the width 1.5 times the bodice width. So there's a fair amount of gathering there. So I'm really happy with how it came out, and I think I'll get a lot of wear out of this one in winter, and hopefully it'll wear well and be really comfy because it's a cotton. But that's my first make, the hack of the Ogden cami pattern by True Bias. So I've now got a couple of swimwear makes to share with you, which I made before I went on holiday, and I was pleased to be able to wear them on holiday, and I really enjoyed wearing them. So I made a couple of bikini swimsuits, and I made these using fabric I got earlier this summer from Swimwear Fabrics, and I saw they had a really nice range of swimwear fabrics, which I think were £10 per metre, so quite a good price. And they were kind of chlorine resistant and had some UV protection, so they looked like good quality, and they had some really lovely colours. And I chose to get 1.5 metres in two colours. I got 1.5 metres in this lovely hot pink colour, and then 1.5 metres in this really lovely royal blue colour. And I wasn't sure what to do with them when I bought them. I knew I wanted to make a couple of swimming costumes of some sort. And I have three patterns to pick from that I knew I was going to use. So I just had to think about it and then made my decision and got on with sewing. So I'll show you them now. So the first one I made using this pattern here, which is the Pilates Swimsuit by Opian. And it's a really lovely swimsuit with some lovely details. So it's an all-in-one swimsuit. It's got a tie front here and then a cut-out back. And you can fully line the bodice, and I actually fully lined the pants as well. And the instructions are really nice and take you through really well, and it comes together surprisingly quickly. And so I decided to make this in the blue, royal blue swim fabric. I did have a think about maybe mixing and matching and doing pink and blue together, but I thought in the end I'd probably get more wear out of it and feel more comfortable wearing it in just one colour, because it wouldn't be quite as bright and I didn't want to stand out too much on the beach. In terms of sizing, the Opian Pilates goes from size 1, which is a bust 32, waist 24, hips 34, up to a size 8, which is a bust 44, waist 35, hips 46. So unfortunately not the biggest size range. And for me, I made a size 1 bust, which is just my bust, and then I graded up to a size 2.5 for the waist and hips, which kind of fit my measurements because I'm 32, 26, 36. And I made this one before, actually. I made a version of Liberty Swim Fabric earlier this year. And having made that one, I made a few alterations to this version. And so I'll show you how it looks. It's really hard to show swimwear, I think. So here it is. But I'll put a picture of me wearing it, which shows it better. So I am actually on this version, I raised the actual bikini sort of pants bottoms by 1 inch, just to get them a little closer to my natural waist and give it a little bit more coverage. And they also, just for a bit more fun, I lengthened the pattern piece here for the ties at the front by I think a couple of inches, just to give a slightly bigger kind of bow. I thought that would be quite fun and make a bit more of a feature of the bow. So that's my version, and I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I really enjoyed wearing it. I think it's a really pretty swimsuit. I'll put a picture up of the back too, so you can show the cut-out back. And it actually came together really fast. I think with swimwear, once you've got the hang of inserting the elastic, then other than that, it does come together really quickly, and it doesn't need too much fabric too. I had plenty of fabric left over actually after making this, and I went on to make one other item with this blue fabric, which I'll show you in a moment. But that's my first swimwear make, the Opian Pilates. Yeah, really lovely swimsuit with some really nice fun details. So for the pink swimwear fabric, I decided to revisit a pattern which is the first swimwear pattern I made. And I made my first swim pattern quite a while back, so it was really nice to revisit this pattern because I hadn't made it since. And it's this pattern here, which is the Cottesloe swimsuit and bikini by Megan Nielsen. It's a really nice pattern, this one, because it comes with loads of different variations. There's kind of like quite a traditional style swimsuit that's got quite a deep back and then a little tie detail, which is quite pretty. And then it's got 2 different options for bikini tops and bikini bottoms that you can kind of mix and match. So it's quite a sporty looking top, I think, and you can either make it without the bottom band or with an underbust band. And then there's a low-rise pair of bikini bottoms or a high-waisted pair, again with a waistband. So yeah, quite a lot of different options. And this pattern has a really inclusive size range. I've got the paper pattern, which goes from 0 to 20, but there's also a PDF version available in size 14 to 30, which is the Megan Nielsen curve range. So yeah, really size inclusive pattern. And I thought it would be really fun to make in bright pink, and because it's quite a simple silhouette, the bright pink will really pop. So yeah, I decided to make this top here with the underbust band and then the high-waisted bikini bottoms. And I made a few changes from my first version. So here is the top first, which yeah, I really like. It's a really hot pink colour. And so yeah, I made a couple of changes from my first version. Firstly, I originally made the size 0, which is based on my bust measurement of 32. But I always found that on my first version it came a bit tight. So I decided to size up to the size 2, which is bust 33, which is 1 inch bigger than I am. But actually it's come out a lot more comfortable and I'm really happy with that size. So I think I'd make that size again. I also lengthen the strap slightly because I do have a fairly long torso, I guess. Maybe I've got long hair, I don't know. I found it a little bit tight and the straps are kind of pulling a bit, so I lengthened the strap slightly. And I also added a little bit of extra length here to the under bust area too, just to give it a little bit more coverage. And then I fully lined mine, and I didn't add any elastic actually, because this top does call for elastic all around the neckline and the armholes, but I always found on my first version, I found it a bit restrictive. And I don't need a huge amount of support, so I thought I'd get away without the elastic, and actually that was perfectly fine. It's got enough coverage to stay in place nicely, and I found it a lot more comfortable without the elastic, so I'm really happy I made those changes. And then I made the high-waisted bottoms, and I made those based on my size. So I'm a size 4 on the bottom, which is hips 36, and yeah, I'm size 4 on the waist too, 26. And I lined those too, and so they're quite a nice basic pair of bottoms. And actually wore these on holiday and got my husband to take a few pictures of me on the beach. I felt a little bit sheepish posing, but yeah, I was quite pleased to get a few pictures out in the wild. So I'll pop a picture up so you can see how they came out. Yeah, I really like them. They're really comfy to wear. And I feel like the more I sew swimwear, the more I get confident to make adjustments so it fits me better and feels like it suits my shape better. So yeah, and again, it was quite a straightforward quick make, and again, didn't need too much fabric. So I always kind of, I never look forward to sewing swimwear in a way. It's one of those things that I don't really so enjoy the idea of sewing as much as making a pretty dress, I guess. But once I get started, I do quite enjoy it and find it quite satisfying. And it always takes less time than I expected. So yeah, I must mention, I did add elastic around the bottoms, around the leg holes, but I didn't add any around the waistband. That's an optional to add elastic around the waistband. And I felt like, again, for comfort, I didn't add it in. And actually, I decided, because I had some fabric left of the blue fabric, I decided to make a blue pair of the bottoms too. So I kind of have like a little mix and match set here. So yeah, I can either wear pink and pink or pink and blue, because I think they look quite nice together. And I took a picture, just a little mirror selfie of the pink and blue combination, so you can see that too. I think it looks quite nice, and it was nice to use up the fabric because I really like this royal blue colour. So those are my two swimwear sets. I did get to wear them both on holiday, so I'm really glad I got them sewn up in time for that. The next two August makes I've got to share are two items I made for my daughter. And the first one is a pair of mini Hudson pants by True Bias. And I really love the Hudson pants pattern. I've got the men's version, the women's version, and the children's version, which is the mini. And yeah, it's just a great relaxed jogger pattern. And I'll put up a line drawing of the children's version because I don't have one to hand, a hard copy to hand. But it's got either a full length or a slightly cropped length option. It's got a elasticated waistband, a really nice little pocket detail, and then cuffs, so you can have a little play with different fabrics for those details. And I made my son a few pairs, and I wasn't sure my daughter would be that fussed about them because she's more a kind of dresses and leggings kind of girl. But I made her a pair earlier this summer, and actually she's really enjoyed wearing them. I think she finds them really comfortable and a bit more cosy than leggings. So I said to her, would she like another pair? And she said yes, and she'd like a pair in pink. That's her favourite colour. So I made this version here. Oh, and I should mention the pattern goes from ages 2 to 10, so yeah, quite a wide age range. But yeah, these are the pair I made her. I made it in this pink French terry I got from Minerva. It's described as a lightweight French terry, so it's quite nice for children because it's not too thick and heavy, because they do, I guess, get quite hot when they've been dashing about. And I had fun using up some more scraps of fabric. I made a dress for myself, the Sew Over It Molly dress, in this really nice loop back jersey fabric ages and ages ago. And had a bit left, and I made my daughter originally a kind of light blue, sort of cloudy coloured blue pair of Hudson pants and added these little trims, and she really wanted another pair with a trim like that too. So yeah, I thought it turned out really well because the pink of the flowers matches into the pink of the joggers. So yeah, they're just really cute and a bit girly, which is what she likes. And I'll put up a picture of her wearing them on holiday. She got loads of wear out of them on holiday. This is us in Cornwall on a fairly cool day at a theme park. And her brother in the photo is also wearing mini Hudson pants in what he calls Minecraft green. So yeah, they turned out really nicely, a nice quick sew. I definitely recommend them for children. I do think really once you bought the fabric, it can end up being a bit more expensive, the fabric, than actually buying a pair from the shops. But what I love about them is, even though they're a bit more expensive, they actually come out where they really fit her, because she's got a fairly little waist, and sometimes if you buy them in the shop, the waists are just really wide and sort of tend to sort of fall down a little bit. So it's really nice to be able to make them to fit her, to get the waist, but then also the length she needs. So yeah, I do think that's one of the big benefits, obviously, of making your own clothes. You can get them to really fit. And I enjoy sewing them for her and making them just the colours she wants too. So that's the mini Hudson pants, and I find that pattern quite true to size. I made the age 5 for her, and she is 5, and they fit nicely. So yeah, that's the first make for her. So I made one other item for my daughter this month, another fairly quick sew, and I made that using one of my favourite patterns for children, which is the Pansy dress pattern by Poppy and Jazz. So it's a jersey dress pattern for newborn to 6 years, and it's got it's kind of quite a basic little jersey dress with a gathered skirt and a round neck and long sleeves. And because it's quite straightforward, I think it's quite a fun one to hack. So I've done a few different hacks over the years for my daughter, and I've got loads of wear out of this pattern. And although it's newborn to 6 years, I'm actually still making her the age 4 version because it comes up quite wide. So I'm hoping it will last past the age of 6 for her. At the moment, I think my most recent version, which I'll show you now, I used the age 4 version, just lengthened the bodice and arms slightly, and that turned out fine. But I made her a version using this really lovely fabric that was gifted to me by Swimwear Fabrics. And it's a cotton jersey fabric, and it's got a really cute print on it. It's got unicorns and rainbows and little gifts on it, and it's described as a festive print. But I think with the navy base and the unicorns, it's kind of one that she'll be able to wear all winter, and I don't think anyone would say it's super duper Christmassy, although it has got kind of a cute festive print. So I'm hoping she'll get loads of wear out of this. She actually has already worn it because she couldn't wait to get it on as soon as I'd made it, so that was good. But yeah, so I made the Poppy and Jazz pattern with the gathered skirt, but one little hack I did was to add little ruffles on the shoulder, just an extra little detail, which I thought was quite pretty, so you can see them there. And I also added pink top stitching around the neckband and then around the ruffles and the hems here too, just so I thought that might be a bit of fun too. So it's a nice straightforward one to sew. The ruffle was quite straightforward to add in. I used the pattern piece from this pattern here, which I also had, which is the Jasmine sweatshirt by Ikati. And it's got a little ruffle on the sweatshirt pattern. I haven't actually made this pattern many times, so I really should revisit it for my daughter, because it's another nice one that goes from 3 to 12 years. Yeah, I just borrowed the ruffle pattern piece, and that worked fine because you're kind of gathering it in so that the width of it isn't too critical. But yeah, that's how it turned out. It was really, it's really nice and soft fabric. And I was having a look on the Swimwear Fabrics website, and as well as this festive unicorn print, they have a couple of really cute festive dinosaur prints as well, which are really lovely. I think there's one in a navy and one in a red colourway, so definitely worth checking out their range of fun kind of festive fabrics. But yeah, this cotton jersey is really soft, and I think my daughter will wear it loads. Oh, and I'll put up a picture of her wearing it so you can see her in it. Yeah, she's really pleased how it turned out. Yeah, I really like it. I do really fancy making myself a pair of festive pyjamas in this fabric too, because I think the navy colourway is, yeah, a really nice colour too. But yeah, that was the second make for my daughter. So yeah, that was that one. So my next make I've got to share with you is actually a remake of one of my favourite dresses I made when I first started sewing. And it's a dress I made from this book here, which is the Stretch Sewing Book by Tilly and the Buttons. And it's got some lovely patterns in here, all to sew with stretchy fabric. And my favourite pattern from this book is the Freya top and dress, which is this pattern here. So it's fairly close fitting jersey top and dress. And you can make it either with this neckline here, which is my favourite neckline, which is called a mock neckline. It's almost like a sort of short polo neck. Or you can make it with a more of a roll neck top or a cowl neck. So yeah, lots of different variations on the neckline. It's fairly close fitting. You can either make it into quite a nice cosy top for winter or a dress with an A-line shape to it. And I've made both the top and the dress version. And I made a version when I first started sewing in fabric I loved. And it's this fabric here. It's a navy base cotton jersey, and it's got these little, what do you call them, dragonflies on there in a geometric print. And I really love this fabric, and I really love this dress. But I made it when I first started sewing, and I don't know whether I didn't pre-wash the fabric. I think I probably did, but maybe with washing it's got shorter, and I also think I cut it a bit short. And it just got to the point where my original dress got too short to wear comfortably. So I was really disappointed, but I decided to cut it off into a top version. And I had a look around for the fabric at the time, a while back, to see if I could find any more of it, but I couldn't see it anywhere. So I thought, oh well, I'll just enjoy wearing the top, that's fine. But I happened the other day just to be searching on the internet, and I found a fabric shop online that had 1.5 metres of this fabric left over. So I thought, I might be able to just about squeeze a dress out of it, so I bought it. And I was really happy that I could give it another go. And so I did make it, and here it is, my second version here. So yeah, I made the Freya dress again with the A-line, but I made a few adjustments. Firstly, I did make it longer, obviously, and added a bit of extra length just so that if it does end up washing a bit shorter, it won't get too short too quickly. But also for my second version, I had a little look at my photos of my first version and I decided to adjust the shape slightly. I think when I made my first version, it was fairly early on in my sewing journey. I didn't really have the confidence to grade between sizes and that sort of thing. So I made the straight size 2, which fit me nicely on the bust and the waist, but ended up being a bit clingy on the hips. And so, because it's quite a tight fitting dress. So this version I decided to grade out, and I graded out to a size 3 for the hips, just to give me a bit more room there. And actually it's come out really well and I'm really happy with the fit. It's a little bit less tight than my first version and I feel more comfortable with it like that. So I'm really glad I had the opportunity to remake it and actually make it better than my first version too. So I'll put up a picture of me wearing it so you can see how it looks. And I really like it. I know it's one I'm going to get loads of wear out of in winter. I think this fabric, with it being navy, is one that won't really go out of fashion. Yeah, and I just really like the kind of geometric effect of it and I like the blue. So I'm really happy to have been able to remake that. So a few more details about the Freya. It's a really quick, easy and straightforward sew, so I'd really recommend it if you're new with jersey fabrics. Because the neckline is a stand-up neckline, you don't have to worry about getting it to lie flat, so that's great. It just comes together really fast. Unfortunately, it's not available in the largest size range. It goes from a UK 6, so size 1, which is bust 30, waist 24, hips 33, up to a size 8, which is bust 44, waist 38, hips 47. So it's unfortunately not the biggest size range. But it's just a really great basic, and yeah, I'm really happy to have made this one and that it fits nicely, and hopefully I'll get loads of wear out of it. I think actually the company who I bought this fabric from was called Sunnyside Fabrics, and they have a really nice website with lots of quilting fabrics and a few dressmaking fabrics too, and I'll put a link to them down below like I will for all the companies I mentioned in this video. But yeah, came from Sunnyside Fabrics, and actually I think they sent me slightly more than 1.5 metres, so that ended up being really good actually, because I think I ended up using about 1.6 metres to make this dress, just because I needed the length for both the dress and the arms, which I also lengthened slightly. So I was really glad that they kindly sent me that little extra bit, because it really helps. I think I might have struggled to fit it all in, or it would have been real pattern Tetris on big style to try and make it otherwise without the extra 10 centimetres. So yeah, it's a really lovely dress, really straightforward, and I'm really pleased to have my round 2 version of it. So my final make I've got to share with you for this month is a knitting make, and it's a make from this book here, which is Knitted Cats and Dogs by Sue Stratford. And if you've seen my previous makes vlogs, you'll know I was originally working my way through a knitted cats book, and then my children found this book, which included knitted dogs, so now I'm working my way through the dogs in this book. And this month I finished one for my daughter, and it was this pup here, which is a Chihuahua. So she's quite a cute little dainty dinky dog, and she was fun to knit. She was a bit more of a fiddly knit, this one. Firstly knitted on slightly smaller needles. I think they were 2.75mm, so it's quite a fine knit, and there were quite a lot of fiddly bits in making, so not really like a beginner knit. I found this one a bit more, yeah, fiddly. But here is the version I made for my daughter. She's quite cute. My daughter asked for her to be in pink, so I went with pink for the main colour, and then sort of cream little tummy and legs and a little snout. And she's got these big ears, which I think are really cute, and then a pink collar too, and a little tail at the back. So yeah, I think she's really sweet. My daughter really likes her. Yeah, she's quite a dainty little knit. Yeah, the knitting was more fun than the sewing up on this one. But yeah, I'm really pleased how she turned out. There actually is a pattern in the book too for a little knitted bag to go with her, which looks really cute. I'll show you that pattern here. So I probably got enough wool that I can make that too. My daughter hasn't requested that yet, so I'm enjoying having a break from knitting animals for the moment before that gets requested, and before they have a look and find some more knitted pups they'd like me to make. But yeah, that's the little Chihuahua. Yeah, she's quite a cute little one, and I think she looks quite nice in pink actually. So thank you so much for joining me to hear about what I've been making in August. I've really enjoyed sharing all my makes. I'm glad I did manage to fit a bit of sewing in August. I do find it a really relaxing hobby, and it's been nice to unwind after some busy days in the holidays with a bit of sewing. So yeah, that's my August makes. If you've enjoyed it, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. And like I mentioned at the beginning, if you haven't subscribed, I would love it if you would subscribe and press the bell icon, and that means you'll get notified when I bring future vlogs out. Now the summer holidays are sort of coming to a close. I'll be around a little bit more, so hopefully I'll be able to get back to filming a regular weekly vlog, fingers crossed. But yeah, thanks so much for joining me. I hope you've had a lovely summer too, and I'll hopefully see you again soon. Have a great day. Bye!